We appreciate the opportunity to share our story with you. Bill and I had been the subject of an ABC Nightly News film clip about a tracker that he wears and about the independence and the exercise he's been able to do even though he's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
The Alzheimer's Association developed a computer program called Comfort Zone. With this pocket-sized receiver, families can track patients and for the first time be alerted whenever a patient strays too far.
It's him being safe and me knowing that he's safe.
On this particular day, Catherine is at her office in Richmond, Virginia. Her husband, wearing that receiver, is walking nearby.
We are right here in the center of the zone.
So you create the comfort zone?
That's correct.
So you can make it as large as you want, as small as you want?
Right.
Today, Catherine creates a zone 3 blocks wide. If Bill moves outside that area, in this case, if he crosses East Main and 9th, his wife will be alerted.
He just broke through it, yeah.
So he just went through the comfort zone?
Yes, he did.
Catherine can now call her husband's cell phone.
Yeah, everything's fine, honey.
If there were a problem, Catherine could guide the police to Bill's exact location.
It says he's at 1213 East Main.
The service, available for $42 a month, can even be used by family members thousands of miles away to set zones and track a patient's movements. And there's no need to be constantly near a computer. The alerts are also sent as text messages to cell phones.
I'm reminded of what happened just before and just after the ABC film clip ran. I had failed to tell anybody in my office that my husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so I had to very quickly go in and tell them, okay, my husband has Alzheimer's, there's going to be a phone call here tomorrow, and it's all good. And they are all trying to process this. And so that was okay, and we had the film crew, and we filmed everything. What I wasn't prepared for was the day after it ran in the television, all the people streaming in my office saying, you know, oh my God, my sister, my brother, my neighbor down the street. I had no idea that Alzheimer's had touched as many people as it has touched. I knew that it had touched us, but I just didn't know. And it was quite an eye-opener for me. As a caregiver, it's important that the first thing I do is acknowledge all the people that have helped us. And we owe a lot of thanks to a lot of people. And that's right, yeah. They've touched us, they've been with us every intersection of the way. Before Bill was diagnosed, he was a research scientist for Wyeth Pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for 15 years. I was a pharmaceutical scientist. I developed and validated test procedures for over-the-counter drugs that were produced by Wyeth Pharmaceuticals. And actually, I have a patent or a record of invention for a CFC-free solution for pulmonary delivery devices. And as you know, CFCs mess up the ozone layer, so they had to switch to a different solvent, and I came up with one that was able to work.
Yeah, if you're as clueless as I am, it is very close to rocket science, okay? It's very high-level stuff. Several years ago, Bill sensed that something was wrong. He sensed he was making mistakes. He knew something was going on. His family did too. They said, is he tired? Maybe he's depressed. You know, midlife, that could be it. So we knew something was up, and we set off to find a doctor to get some sort of diagnosis and to have him checked out by the specialists. The problem we ran into is most of the specialists, or the tests that they used to test for Alzheimer's, just didn't work for Bill.
Well, they asked me to count by 2 when I can count backwards by 1.3. They actually said they didn't think I had any cognitive disorders.
Okay, so the tests were not necessarily effective for Bill. Finally, what the doctors had to look at was the difference between what was normal behavior and what his behavior was now. Once Bill was diagnosed, though, our doctor challenged us to 3 things: to learn to live with Alzheimer's and not just to die from it. He challenged us to get involved, to find a voice, and to join a support group. That led us to the Alzheimer's Association and our early onset support group. I was not real excited about it at first. I did not like the idea of going to a support group for people with Alzheimer's, especially younger people. So, to get me to be more comfortable, Bill and I used to play this game every time we'd go to the meeting. Tell me what the game was.
We tried to figure out which one of the couple had the disease, and many, many times we were wrong.
That's the new face of Alzheimer's. It's not the old man down the street. It's not your crazy grandmother that you maybe only see twice a year, so maybe she's just old. Maybe she has Alzheimer's. a staggering statistic is that by age 80, 1 out of 2 people will be diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So it's either me or you. That's a very sobering fact. And adapting has helped us to cope. We've learned to adapt to certain situations. And one of the things we did was we enrolled Bill in the Safe Medical or Safe Return program. And Bill wears a bracelet where if he runs into a medical emergency or he gets lost or disoriented, there's vital information about him on his bracelet. And we were really pleased with that. We thought, okay, we're doing all the things the doctor told us. So we went back to the doctors and we proudly showed him the bracelet. And the doctor said, where's your bracelet? I said, oh, I do not have Alzheimer's. Bill has Alzheimer's. I said, yeah, but you are the caregiver. If something were to happen to you, someone has to know to go to get Bill. And that's the first time it occurred to me the involvement of all the people in Alzheimer's. And now I wear a bracelet very proudly that has information about me should something happen to go and get Bill. It's a very touching and also it makes so much sense. So I think you'd probably agree if you're a caregiver or you know someone that's a caregiver, it's the little things that can make a big difference, and it's the little things that we've learned to adapt to. It's been important for us to learn how other people adapt and accommodate. What about you, Bill? What do you do?
I have to fill my day up with something. I try to keep myself busy and active all day long. I clean up the house, I do the laundry, I do the dishes. I just do whatever I can, cut the grass, cut the weeds, whatever I can to keep myself busy, not just sitting there looking at the TV. And it makes me feel like I've accomplished something.
Well, I'm reasonably sure if you're listening to this or you're watching this, you can probably identify with what we're saying. Whether we're talking about just getting older or Alzheimer's, it's a matter of concentrating on what you have and what still works for you. Some of you may have seen an article in the Richmond Times-Dispatch. It was this past February where Bill spoke before the Social Security Administration. And he spoke in favor of a compassionate allowance for people diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which would mean they would receive their benefits earlier. And only someone situated the way he is could speak so compassionately and with so much believability. And they passed that. And that's a grassroots effort. That's people that knew and understood, and it's walking the walk and talking the talk. Also, in the ABC News clip that they ran, they said that Bill was walking about 11 miles every day, and that was back in October when they filmed that. So, Bill, what have you been walking this week?
Well, let me give a baseline. Usually what I used to do was ride in with Kitty to work downtown, Capitol Square, and I'd walk back to Bonaire the long way through the Fan District and take a different route every day. But then I decided, why don't I just walk all the way downtown and walk all the way back? So I figure it's about 20, 21 miles. It's a good little trip, and I try to stop by and see Kitty and see a lot of nice things on the way, just to fill that day up and keep myself in shape. It's just a good little stretch of the legs. Make sure I get good shoes and good socks, and water bottle, and a cell phone, and a hat. And that's all you need.
Besides just walking, Bill's made a commitment to make a difference during his walks, and he's committed himself to beautifying the areas that he walks, and he has adopted a highway. And it's right on Buford Road, so all of our neighbors know him. All of the people around there know Bill. And there's a blue sign on the road that it's named, "Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey?"
It starts at Midlothian Turnpike and goes to Jank Road. My next goal is to adopt the rest of Buford Road in the name of the Richmond chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. I would like to get to see that happen.
So people are more aware of the Alzheimer's Association. So whatever part anyone plays in fighting this disease, be it fundraising as a caregiver, as a contributor, what I want to ask you and challenge you to do is to keep doing it and do more of it, because we need to fight this disease and we need to win. And with your help, we will.